So earlier on today, I provided you with a new video, which was breaking news that President Biden was going to come out because him and Senate Democrats finally agreed on a deal. They came to an agreement, which is good news. Here's the problem. Many people, when I address this, the issue was many people were asking, what about additional stimulus checks? Are we going to see a fourth stimulus check? Well, you probably know the answer, but I'm going to address that in today's video as well. You probably see it from the title. There's no stimulus checks. But I want to further that. Okay, I want to go a little bit further because not only are we seeing that there's no stimulus checks, and I'm going to provide you with another quick little update on what we're hearing regarding the text of this bill. Because remember, Nancy Pelosi has said that 90% of this bill has already been written, and we just got to wait for the remainder 10%. So here's what I can tell you. Democrats are fighting over this bill. They're fighting because moderates want to see that the $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill finally gets passed. But some are saying, well, let's wait. Let's just wait. So again, I'm going to address that. But let's dive into the stimulus checks for a second, okay? Now, if you have questions on any of this, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. Here's what I can tell you. There's nothing in this current framework that is going to potentially give us a fourth stimulus check. Not only is there nothing in the framework, there's not even the opportunity because the bill is only at $1.75 trillion. It would take about $400 billion to provide an additional stimulus check. And we know that moderates, specifically Joe Manchin, are not wanting to go any higher than $1.75 trillion. They're not going to go to 2.1. So that creates a little bit of an issue. There's no money for a fourth stimulus check. The other issue, we are hearing that the 1-year child tax credit payments may be the final extension of this provision as it currently stands. In the current bill, the current framework, the expectation is there's not going to be a work requirement and there will not be a change to the income limit. But according to reports, when, not if, but when Democrats do another budget reconciliation in 2022, they're going to pass the rest of this human infrastructure bill, the other $1.75 trillion worth of it, and they will include another 3 years, potentially just 2, but 3 years of the child tax credit payments. What we know is that if this happens, multiple moderates, not just Senator Joe Manchin, are going to push for a work requirement and a lower income limit, possibly right at $60,000. And this would be for a family, not for an individual. So as a family, if you make over $60,000 as a family or a household, you would not qualify for this $300 or $250 per month child tax credit payment. Now, the other big question, and I got this, and I've been receiving this question multiple times over the past week. Is there still going to be a $1,000 debit card that's going to be handed out to seniors? Well, according to reports, an $800 stimulus debit card is still on the table, but we do not know if this is going to make it into the text of this bill for seniors. We don't know. Right now, the purpose of this $800 debit card is actually to help seniors pay for dental and vision. Because as we know, the only thing that has been included into this framework is hearing. And what I found out about that is the reason why hearing is potentially going to be included into this bill is because out of those three, okay, dental is something that you do hopefully twice a year. If not, maybe at least once a year. You go in for a cleaning or a checkup, right? Just regular maintenance. The second thing, vision. Most people need glasses almost every single year. The majority of Americans, their vision changes enough year to year that they should go and get a vision check. However, most people don't because either they can't afford it, they do not have insurance, or some people don't realize that their vision is changing that often. So, the reports are indicating that the reason why vision was included or hearing is included is because hearing doesn't change that often. When somebody starts to gradually lose their hearing, it's gradual. It's not just all of a sudden in 1 year it's gone. It just slowly starts to diminish. So the expectation is the reason why hearing is included is because that would be the cheapest over the long term. So just to give you an idea, the reason why this was included is because it's the cheapest option. That is what we're going with, the cheaper options. Not the best for seniors, not the best for, the people that have been paying into this system, right? Not for that, because it's the cheapest. So when it comes to stimulus, there's no stimulus check. We are potentially going to see possibly the last year of the child tax credit payments, which is still good. It's still an extension, and it doesn't just cut off on December 15th. Okay, but we're also still waiting on the answer of that possibly $800 debit card. And according to reports, being it's a debit card, you could spend this just about anywhere. It's not a voucher, and that's the key. If it's an $800 voucher, that could only be used for dental and vision. If it's a debit card, that can be used on anything, groceries. Okay, you can go to the ATM, you can pull that money out, use it for rent. You can go and gamble with it if you want to. You can put it on Shiba if you want to. It doesn't matter. Okay, it's really up to you. But we're still waiting on those questions or those answers. Here is what is included. I'm gonna run through this once again. I addressed this earlier. You've probably seen this already, but I'm gonna touch on this one more time, just very quickly. Universal preschool for 3 to 4 year olds is still included. This will be for the next 6 years. Subsidized childcare with a cap of parents or of 7% of what they earn. This is going to be funded for 6 years as well. The 1-year child tax credit extension, this will be included. It's going to affect about 35 million households. The expanded tax credit for 10 years of utility and residential clean energy. This includes electric vehicles, $550 billion for climate, extend the current pandemic-related Affordable Care Act subsidies for additional 4 years, and Medicare is going to cover the cost of hearing. Okay? Now, here are the recent changes to the tax credits, or the tax changes, really. The billionaire tax is likely out because Senator Joe Manchin doesn't support it. The IRS banking provision is out as well. According to reports, President Biden agreed that this is not something that we need to do, especially at this time. We know the higher top individual tax rate is likely out, and so is the capital gains tax rate. Okay, tax hike. Remember, that took you from 20 to 25%. So, that is out. Right now, a lot of this is because of Senator Kyrsten Sinema. She didn't like the tax increases. And so for those of you that do trade stocks, right, this is actually pretty big. That additional 5% for a lot of people is a pretty good amount of money. And if you can reinvest that additional 5% as opposed to paying it back into the government, well, there you go. You can save a little bit of money. Nancy Pelosi and President Biden are attempting to push a vote through possibly today. That is their goal and their expectation. However, according to U.S. Progressive Caucus Chairwoman Pramila Jayapal, she said that just having the framework is not enough to get the votes. And having the text of the bill is not enough either. According to her, both of the infrastructure bills must be passed together in order to receive progressive votes. So, we're going to see, but right now it's not looking great to get this bill done today. The reason why this bill could be voted on today is because Nancy Pelosi has said she does not want to embarrass President Biden for the upcoming climate summit. Nancy Pelosi also stated on Sunday that 90% of this bill has already been written. So in order to get the other 10%, it shouldn't take that long. So if this is true, we should expect this bill very soon. But even if we see the bill be voted on Friday, according to multiple reports, Senator Bernie Sanders says we need to wait. The Senate should wait, vote on this bill after there's an opportunity to make changes to the framework, because he says there is opportunity. Earlier today, he said, and I quote, "I don't want the American people to say, look, once again, the drug companies won out or the insurance companies won out. I want the American people to say, you know what? On this occasion, working families won." But let me ask you, do you think the working families won in this instance? Or did the pharmaceutical companies and the lobbyists, did they win once again? I'm kind of going with the latter. I think the pharmaceutical companies, lobbyists, those are the ones that won this time. Now, many lawmakers don't expect this bill to be passed this week or really even early next week. Most expect we're going to go into November without this bill even being passed. But they all agree. Something must be done immediately because we still have the government funding bill and the debt ceiling crisis to address. And just so you know, this week, Senator Joe Manchin, he said it's Democrats' responsibility to raise the debt ceiling, and they should do it through budget reconciliation. The problem is the budget reconciliation is currently being used on the $1.75 trillion infrastructure bill. So if we're going to see this, one or the other has to pass, or they have to push them together. And as of right now, the debt ceiling increase is not being included into the human infrastructure bill. That's creating a problem. Senator Joe Manchin's other plan is to push the responsibility of the debt ceiling increase onto the president for future agreements. He said, and I quote, "The debt limit should be 14th Amendment, that the president has the right to make that decision. We have the right to override it if we think he went too far." That, to me, is the simplest. So as of right now, they are looking at this human infrastructure bill, trying to tie it to the bipartisan infrastructure bill, trying to get the bills passed this week before President Biden leaves. However, according to reports, it is highly unlikely that this happens, but we could potentially see some movement tonight. If we do, I might come on later on tonight or later on this evening to address that, but I promise you, I will be on tomorrow morning to address all of this, because right now, what I can tell you is that this is not over. We are going to continue to see this fight. Okay, it's going to continue to happen. A new bill is potentially going to be coming out in 2022 in order to address the things that were not added into this framework. So again, we need to watch out for that. There are no stimulus checks. There are none. I don't expect us to see a stimulus check in this particular bill. Maybe next year, but even that's highly unlikely. However, I do expect the child tax credit payments are going to get more of a push. We're going to see lawmakers push for that $800 or possibly $1,000 debit card for seniors. That's going to be big, especially when Medicare was not expanded the way progressives wanted it to be. So there's a lot of stuff that we got to go over. There's a lot of stuff that, I'm going to be doing a lot of research later on tonight and tomorrow morning as well. And I'm going to fill you in on all these answers, because right now, I think we have more questions than answers. So I just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.